It's like, good evening, welcome all. It is Friday, and it is the first Friday of 2020. So not only are we beginning a new year, but we're beginning a new decade. Check that out, a new decade. Yeah, we're out of the 10s, we are into the 20s, and this is the first official cheap date night, although for those of you guys that have been with pretty much all week, right? We've been going all week and into last week, really heavy over the Christmas vacation and the New Year's break. We've been doing a variety of specials that sum up or wrap up the 2019 in music, movies, and we're still doing more, by the way. So we will be continuing because I have some special guests that I've been looking to specifically work on some of these, particular shows with me. So I have another guest that's coming in to do some music with me, another guest to do some movies with me, etc. So I'm really looking forward to it. I put a lot of work, time, and effort, and I will say that I definitely put a lot of work, time, and effort just even into the yearly wrap-ups. So for those of you guys that were here last night, thank you again for being here tonight. We had a lot of fun last night. Last night was kind of cool. So we did the top 10 country songs of 2019. And I got to tell you, I had, it was Epiphanius, spell it if you want. But it was a damn good opportunity for me to look back on the year and reinvigorate myself about what country is now. And here's my rule, and I said it yesterday, last night. If you don't make the attempt and all you do is cry and complain about what it isn't, then you'll never find what is. And I found 10 And so this is what we're going to do. The 10 that I did last night, my top 10, SuperMex's top 10, right? And I said yesterday, it isn't just about streaming, who had the most streams, who had the most sales, who was on Billboard the longest for #1, whatever. You can do that, and you can put together lists, compile your lists, and you know, nobody's going to argue because that's your metric, right? My metric isn't that. My metric is the top 10 songs that I listened to during the year, and that I think you should listen to going forward. If not the song, then definitely the artist. That's how I kind of, so there's a little bit of everything, a little bit of something for everyone, including, you know, some old country, some new country. Some of you guys wouldn't have seen George Strait on my list. The dude's been doing it nearly 5 decades, right? Still cranking out quality hits. Every Little Honky Tonk Bar, it's a damn good song. But straight-laced, simple, good George Strait lexicon, canon of music. Great stuff. And of course, we've got new stuff that was, you know, breaking boundaries, breaking borders. We've always had crossovers, but I will definitely say the country crossovers we've got now are having, you know, rippling effects all over the planet. They're literally going global, not just local and country. It's meaning country, not the music, but country, the U.S. It's all over the place. So I really liked some of the collaborations by different artists from different genres collaborating with country musicians and making it work. So I was way into that, and that was the list you got last night. So I will say, Mike, Michigan Mike, if you're with me tonight, homeboy, because you usually are, loyal Michigan Mike, and Denise, obviously the good lady, his other half, better half, you will get the Aubrey Road music. I will call or talk to Austin tonight or tomorrow, send him a message, and I'm going to get you that CD, the Aubrey Road CD, not just Another Hangover, the good song, right? But he's got a whole bunch of other good songs with Brianna, the young gal that is collectively together. They are Aubrey Road. So I'm going to get you that CD, Michigan Mike, because you posted all of the titles to the top 10 songs that I had listed, and you posted them, send them to me. You're a SuperMex Nation winner, so you get the prize. So again, tonight is cheap date night, and we are kicking off this year in good fashion because I got my crime partners with me tonight that've been off the air because they're too busy educating people. I'm not an educator anymore in the classroom, but these two gentlemen are still in the system, still doing good work with our nation's youth in the local area, Fresno and Madera, California, Great Central Valley. And so I've got to my left and to my right. I'll do this way. To my right, your left. Can I get my hand in there? Like, where's my hand at? There's my hand. All right, so to my far right, your left, the hardcore right neocon, Darren Miller. Yeah. And then Dr. Darren, hey, the doctor's in the house. Look, this is elitist hardcore right winger, right? But my brother Darren Miller, he is back, fresh off of achieving, and I'll say achieving, his doctorate in education. And then to my hand, look at my leg. to my left, your right, my homeboy Swainbo. We didn't call him Miller time for Dr. Miller. Swainbo over here, and Swainbo is a hardcore lefty, liberal, and anti.
Man, I think I got it mixed up here.
So anyway, here's the God's honest truth. The reality is for the gentleman and myself, none of us are really, and I don't know if I'm speaking too far out of turn here, but none of us are really that far anywhere.
True.
We're kind of all like straight laced somewhere in the middle kind of guys, right? Yeah. And you know, it's kind of hard to be like hardcore one way or the other, gentlemen, if we're all in education and we're working with kids.
Working with kids.
If you're working with kids, I mean, you get to appreciate. I mean, you've got to be firm, right? And you've got to be rigid, and you've got to be by the system in the book and school code.
Firm, fair, and consistent.
Right, but you also have to be understanding and appreciative and a little liberal when it comes to working with kids because not every kid has the exact same circumstance. So I do like that about education. I really think that true educators don't get pigeonholed too far left or too far right, I'll say, on a political spectrum. We just we take care of kids, you know, and that's what I believe the way it should be. But because we're back, see if we could do that.
Oh, wow.
There you go. So we don't have music tonight so far, but we'll start us off tonight with a little bit of some Thin Lizzy. And the boys are back in town. I'm going to have to break it now, watch. All right, we'll cut there because then I'll get muted like I did last night and the night before and the night before. We get muted all the time. So this is what I'm going to do. Watch this before we get started, gentlemen. So this is the show tonight. We are doing the top feel-good stories for the gentleman and myself of 2019 as we saw it, as we saw the year go by. We're not doing, hard stuff, negative stuff. And I say hard like it's not like we're not going to. We are. Not tonight, though. Tonight is cheap date night. It's feel-good night. And we're going to talk about all the things that we saw in 2019 that struck us as positive or going into 2020 will be good, if not for us locally or personally, but for the country. And, you can, depending on what you guys did, I don't know because we didn't really get into too much specifics. Maybe it's national, maybe it's international. I don't know. But that's kind of the beauty of the show is that I give the gentleman a topic or an intent, but we don't go too far into the weeds so that they have the freedom to kind of think for themselves and do their own thing. So I'm going to guess. So what I told them was 3 to 4 feel-good stories about 2019 as we head into 2020. So I've got 3 or 4. The gentlemen have 3 or 4. And I'm going to hope or guess that they're probably not all exactly the same. We're going to go in different directions because, we're a little bit different here. We're a lot different. We're all from the Central Valley, but, we've grown up in different places, different ways. These 2 mugs went to Roosevelt, though. Yeah, both Roosevelt. Both
Riders.
Rough Riders. Rough Riders. I should do that song, too. Rough Riders. Around. And I'm an old Central kitty. For those of you guys out there in Central Nation, you know who you are. And so we're probably going to have some different looks. I took mine like on a global, generic scale from the States, what I think, the United States, what we can get out of this 2019 and then going forward, for the year. So that's kind of how I approached, what I was going to do tonight. But this is the homework I'm going to give you. Since you're both educators, and look at Darren's like, man, I just got done with homework. I just got done with homework. All right, so here's the real easy homework. So just so we're clear, SuperMex Nation, educators still get homework too. Some of them just do a better job of hiding from it. You just don't show up to the staff meeting, right? Oh, I got a game. I got a game, man. I can't
make it. I got to go coach.
I got to go coach. Hey, I got to coach. I can't be at that.
I'm not feeling too well.
Exactly. Hey, can you get that lesson plan? Oh, yeah.
I got to go see the doctor right now, Dr. Miller.
The doctor's in the house. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do for the gentleman. I'll put him on the spot right now. So normally cheap date night, and Swainbo's been on me a couple times on cheap date night. This was a while ago, but you've been on with cheap date. Yep. So cheap date night is fun. We talk movies, music, and we talk about what, pop culture and art, entertainment. So normally we always have music on the cheap date night. So I don't want to break with that tradition too much, even though we can make it something other. So this is what I'm going to do, gentlemen. I've been doing music all week. So you two, before we're done with the show tonight, as we wrap up at the end of the night, you guys give me 2 songs from 2019. You don't have to tell me now. 2 songs from 2019 that were your favorites or that you really liked. And they could be any genre, any style, but they have to be from 2019, current music, going back to beginning of last year. Okay. So just 2 songs. Just 2 songs you guys liked or you listened to. Doesn't matter, Are you having trouble with that?
I am. I'll make it work.
All right, we'll just think about it. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But just like too busy with education, right? Too busy trying to get.
I don't know what I don't know.
Too busy trying to be Dr. Miller.
I don't know what's new and what's not, but I'll figure it out.
Too busy trying to be Dr. Miller.
I'm too stuck in the 80s and 90s,
Exactly.
2019, what?
All right,
There's still music being produced?
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm telling you, that's how you stay young. Yeah. Is that you forcibly make yourself go listen to some new stuff. And trust me, it's like trudging through some ugly stuff, like, oh, man. Yeah. But you find a kernel once in a while, like, hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm still knee-deep in music, current, and there was good music this year. There was really good music, and I'm just real interested in how the genres are continuing to morph and how the distribution of music is changing. That's all changing now. That's streaming has totally altered everything. Oh, yeah. It's not the traditional, hey, I'm going to sell it out of the back of my trunk. All that's kind of gone, even though you can still do that. So anyway, I digress. But okay, so if you guys can, before we're done with the show tonight, we'll give our guests and our listeners, viewers, a couple songs that the gentlemen were listening to that they didn't have from me because I already did those shows. But just a couple songs for you guys to go into the weekend with. Okay, so there's no particular order, and it isn't like a set number, but we're going to talk about the good things we saw in 2019 that carry into 2020, and that struck you individually, that made, an impact, that made you think and said to yourself, okay, this is good stuff, and I think it's good going forward. So let's start with the doctor. What you got, doctor? I'm gonna bust you all
My
night.
number one feel good for 2019 was all of the ladies that were elected to public office.
Oh, man.
There's over 100 in
Oh,
Congress.
man.
There's numerous ladies here local.
You know why I'm
elections.
saying man, right?
That's one of yours?
It is kind of.
Good minds think
It is
alike.
kind of one.
But I think that, and I totally believe this, that we, the testosterone-filled side of the ledger, has totally set in motion some things locally, through the state, on a national scale, that needs to have a feminine touch.
Correct.
So I'm very, very, very interested, intrigued to see how this male-dominated political structure that we've had from day one, how it's going to change now with the introduction of all these ladies being elected to
Correct.
public office.
So I'll jump in with you because I had generically women, and I didn't make it like specifically Me Too movement or how many specifically were elected to Congress, because a lot
I'm
more.
going to get to the Me Too movement. I don't consider that part. I'm talking
Separate.
about ladies
Separate.
who actually
Okay.
were elected.
Okay, see that's the good thing is like I put it all together as like I feel like it's this this thing that is and I'll get cheesy, an unstoppable force. The guys, whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. It is happening right now. I mean, there's no question. This is taking place. More women are going to be elected to positions of power. Say the word. More women are elected into Congress than ever before in the history of our country. More women are in positions. And without, and I don't like doing, let's not do the politicals. I don't want to hear any garbage tonight about what we're talking about. But the fact that Nancy Pelosi is the first female Speaker of the House ever, now twice, and you have hundreds, now into the Congress, in the House and the Senate collectively.
And that's new for us. It's
It
not
is.
new for the.
It
it's
is.
not new for the world. We've got all kind of.
No, we've had other-
examples
yeah,
of women
yes.
leaders in other countries,
Right,
other
right.
Other societies. But it's kind of now here in the United States realm is where we're starting to experience that.
So here's how I kind of like, for my guy friends, my guys, this is what I tell them. If you can honestly sit, forgive the crudeness, but bitch, complain, and cry about the state of our political system, our society, the world, then what the hell's wrong with letting women give it a try? You understand? I think you guys generally get my point. Because if we're so damn good, then why are we crying about the way things are? Intellectually, socially, politically. If we're crying about these things, then what's the harm in allowing,
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Hey, Siri.
But generically, that's my thought, is that I honestly believe that, how much more can we screw it up?
Yeah.
I mean, really, maybe women know some things we don't, heaven forbid, right? Maybe they know some things we don't, and maybe they can do some things that we haven't been able to. And I'll say it. What's wrong with kicking back and letting some ladies do some things? That's kind of where I'm at, generically.
When I talk about that with the ladies coming into power, they do have a different perspective. Yeah, we have something, male side of it has something. You can't have life without a male participant in some form or fashion. But we're not actually the ones who are the vessels that give life. And so I think that
All philosophical.
I believe that having a leader who actually is the vessel of life, who are bearing children, is going to look at some of the things that we do, the way we build up our military, the way some of our criminal justice policies, and how we enact those policies, and how we develop those policies, how we carry out those policies. It's looking at it through a whole different paradigm.
Right,
And I'm
right.
very, very, very interested
Right.
about how that's going to play out with all these lady leaders that we have coming to the forefront here in the United States structure.
Where are you with that, Swimbo, you think?
I've
I mean,
actually-
you've worked with women and,
yeah,
and leadership, right?
Yeah, and being in school leadership, it's always been very male dominant, and so
when I was a principal, I was pretty blessed to have 2 female administrators that were very strong, that were nails, and that gave myself and my VP, who was a male, a really different perspective on things. Because a lot of times the male, you want to kind of be the father figure when it comes to whether you're dealing with teachers, parents, and particularly students. But then with the females, they gave you just a different perspective, and I tell you, it saved my butt a lot of times. Whereas I was going to go straight for the jugular on some stuff, and they're like, hey, you might want to look at it this way, and really walk me back out of some situations.
So hold on a
and
minute.
So
you're trying to tell me that you ran your site like it was like a family or something?
Congratulations.
yeah.
What the hell is that, right?
Yeah,
What the hell is
and
that?
you know what? That's kind of interesting that you say that, because my former administrators were still in touch, and we are like brothers and sisters, and
Right.
and yeah, it is like a family. You really to have a cohesive school, and to have a successful school, and to take a school to the next level. You have to all be on the same page. You can fight like brothers and sisters, but when it's all said and done, you come out together as a united front, and this is what we're going to work on with our staff, with our students, with our school, and it really, it is a family, and I really kind of looked at my school that way.
Yeah, so I'm going to say, like, overall, and I kind of know both of you guys. You become friends, over time. I think you're probably with me. If I'm not, just correct me on the spot. But I got no problem whatsoever with women doing business, handling their business. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of welcoming. I'm like, okay, go whoop that ass.
Yeah.
I want to see it. That kind of thing. And I'll say this. I've told like guy friends, right? That are really hardcore, and they're like, Richard, I didn't expect you to be like that, right? And I was like, why? I said, you know what really badass is? Being so comfortable with yourself that you're okay with women doing their thing.
Yeah, true.
I'm entirely comfortable with that. I like seeing that.
Yep.
And in a roundabout way, and I've done this within my culture, specifically Mexican American culture, because there's a little bit of a bad rap with the ego in the male and female dynamic. And both of you guys know I lost my dad when I was a little boy, so I was raised by my mom. Right. And so I got to see what a strong woman is like. I've seen my mom stand down a guy. I'm talking about a little boy watching your mother like stand down a guy, not afraid whatsoever. And that's some crazy cool stuff. But what I'm getting at is that I do believe that we're at a good inflection point where just guys, be comfortable, be good, be okay with letting women handle their business, and don't assume that it's going to be bad because it's not what you do. Because I'm going to say it again, and this is like the intellectual undercutting of an argument. If we can sit, cry, and complain about all the stuff that's going on in the country, in our society, and our whatever, then what's wrong with letting women take a poke at it?
True.
I mean, seriously.
What's the definition of insanity?
Yeah.
Same old stuff over and over again. And expecting the same results. Expecting the different result. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so, and that's kind of good, because I was like, even though we weren't like specifically on it, I was thinking of women in general, and I'm real interested to see where it goes with women in leadership, women more actively engaged, women more actively involved, women standing up for themselves and not tolerating the same kind of stuff that they used to have to tolerate from guys. And I'll say on record tonight, I didn't get to do as much as I wanted to. This past year we did some things, but because of the way we're growing and the format of the show and other things, we are going to begin doing more with the local women's organizations in our area, and advocating for, especially with the Marjorie Mason Center. My wife, my daughter have done things with them for a long, long time. I won't go into too much detail, but we have done a special on just the Marjorie Mason Center. It's about women, battered women, and children, basically under the thumb of evil guys. And so, like you guys, like we get up on the white horse, and you got to charge in and save. And be there to make sure that doesn't happen, in whatever capacity we can. So I'm going to do more about that going forward into this year. You got my word on that. Okay, let's go to Swainbo, because you've got the same one as you. What you got, brother?
Okay, so I'm going to go completely different, and I'm going to talk about how should I say this? The status of cures for disease.
Okay.
When we've got cancer. We've got, we still have HIV/AIDS. We still have Alzheimer's, And 2019 kind of brought up some great news about curing Alzheimer's. I know specifically with Alzheimer's, they've developed a test, kind of a lack of a better term, a saliva test or a spit test, where it could start determining whether Alzheimer's is at the early stages or not, when a lot of times it's affecting people's minds, but you're not seeing any physical attributes to it and stuff. So with me, even though I have not been close to anybody that had HIV/AIDS, I know there's been a lot of advancements in that, or Alzheimer's. It still affects our world, and it affects our people. It affects, like at my school, our parents and our kids and their families and stuff. And so for me, just the feel good with advancements in medicine, that you look at where were we at 20 years ago, like particularly with HIV and AIDS, it was a death sentence.
When was the last time you heard of anybody dying from AIDS?
Yeah.
You age-related symptoms.
And
not the way it used to be, right? Where you, like you said earlier, it was like it was a death sentence.
You
heard it, it was done.
There's still the transmission of the HIV virus, from what I understand.
Correct.
But they were also getting to a point now with some of the medications and research and things where they're being able to get it if I'm infected with HIV, that I can't transmit it.
Right.
And so it sounds kind of like with tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is a big thing. And then they were able to give you a vaccination and take these meds where you still have the tuberculosis virus in you, but it doesn't transform into where it's taking life away. And so, I agree. I hadn't thought about that, but that's
Did he get his doctorate in education? Or
education.
medicine?
I'm not medicine. I'm not medicine. But every time I do a TB test, I have to do a you're funny. I have to do a chest scan. Because I was exposed to TB at some point in time.
You don't know this song? Doctor.
Wow. He had that on cue. He had that on cue for you, man.
I couldn't help it. You were sounding all medical there for a second.
But I mean, I'm just saying, I'm glad you said that, because I hadn't thought about it in that realm. But you're absolutely right that unfortunately, we haven't cured all those things, but there has been tremendous advancements to be able to prolong their lives.
The best sentence was, it's no longer the death sentence that it once was.
And here's something like Alzheimer's. The stats are saying now that people 80 and over, it's like 50% have it, or are at the early stages, or are going to deteriorate. And now they're in 2019. I think it was the Harvard School of Medicine or something, that they were saying that they've kind of isolated this gene, and they said that when they were going back and looking at these people that have had Alzheimer's, they all had this particular gene. And so now it's where they're going to start attacking this gene with different drugs and stuff like that. So
they identified it, and those people who have the gene are predisposed to...
That's kind of what they're thinking. And so now they've got a whole round of research that now they're going to go down this road, and it looks pretty promising. And it's wild, crazy stuff that when you look at our society and look at all of the plague and the mumps and the measles and all these things and polio that we have, I would say for the most part, eradicated, and we've had medication and stuff, and now we've got these bigger things like cancer, Alzheimer's, HIV, AIDS, and back in the day, oh man, you have that, you're done. And now it's not that anymore. And so I'm just kind of positive as to now that we're going into a new decade and going from 2020s, now we're, maybe we'll be sitting here 2030, and I'll still look young. You guys will look a little bit older, but what will be our advancements when it comes to that thing? So that's kind of my feel good thing.
I like the way he knifed me real quick.
Yeah, I had to. I haven't seen you in a while, so.
I know. But okay, so I mean, in general, I'm definitely with you there, because I do believe that we are. I mean, look at we talk about all this, all the negative, right? All the bad stuff that goes on, and listen, there's plenty, right? I don't even want to talk about the day's issues right now. Don't want to right now, but we are still moving intellectually and in advancement.
Right.
and not just
Here comes
for
Siri again.
Yes, you might jump in. But not just for one thing here or there, but there are still medical people out there that probably put their head down. Like, I don't want to know about politics. I don't want to know about anything. I've got to cure cancer.
Exactly.
I've got to cure Alzheimer's.
Take a
and
look at
fortunately, that's who we are still.
So one of the things I noticed today, taking a look at the list of people who passed in 2019.
Oh, yeah.
If you look on there, most of the people on there I didn't know, but I was looking at their ages. There was quite a few of them that are 101, 102, 103.
Yeah.
I could remember when I was a kid, if you got somebody who died in their 90s, that was a full life.
Yeah, we're
and
living longer.
You rarely ever saw anybody
Listen,
live to be 100.
Decades ago,
it was quite a few people. That
decades
was on there.
ago, 50, 60, 70 was a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you lived in the 40s, and being a history guy, right? 40s, 50s, out of World War II, I mean, you're good if you last to 50, 60, 70. And now, that time period, that window of life is extending, provided, you take care of yourself. And now that and more people are more educated about how to take care of your body, if not your mind too, because you got all kinds of advancements and stuff that are supposed to be fighting, Alzheimer's and, things like dementia or memory loss, because you can actively work your brain in your life over time, so that it's harder for you to fall prey to those diseases or those mental illnesses. And that's just, again, that's us advancing. I think, for the most part, we're going to live longer, but it's about how we live, right? If we're going to live longer, man, you might as well just do it right. Look better doing it. That's the real deal. Okay, so
All right.
Got you there. I had women with Darren, and I think we fleshed that out a little bit on what I feel about it. But I'm going to go to this one for me. So my list is going to be 2 or 3 because we doubled up. And I don't know, unfortunately, you guys kind of know that I'm kind of goony egg-headed about my national and international politics and what's going on. So full disclosure, and I have said this once before on there, I'm going to say it tonight in front of you two guys because I respect you and you'll understand the way I am. I won't say that I was wrong, but I was guilty, as a lot of other people are.
What did you say?
I won't say I was wrong. I won't say I was wrong specifically, but I was guilty, like a lot of people are today, when you jump in on something that's kind of moving, right? And there was no evil intent on my part, but I generally felt it. So my point is this. I used the term bureaucrat, and I have used it in disparaging fashion on air, going back a year or 2 years, making fun of bureaucrats. And I'm not talking about, you guys know me well enough, I'm not dirty, ruthless like that. But I will take the task and be ugly about getting on somebody about things, and you know that. Yeah. I have no mercy for people that are in leadership positions that aren't advocating or taking care of the things that they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. And bureaucrats, by the very nature, are charged with normally government functions or governmental functions, and they're paid by taxpayer dollar. Educators can be bureaucrats as well. You guys both know that. And so I was really, really harsh about what I don't think, and I still kind of am, specifically now, but this is what I'm going to say. After we saw the testimonies of the witnesses during the House hearings, now I'm not going to get too political, but I'm going to point something out specifically. The people that testified are lifetime bureaucrats. They don't run for public office. They work within the governmental system, and in some cases, some of them have been doing it for 4 or 5 decades. Richard Taylor, Vietnam vet, I said this the other day, number 5 in his class at West Point, went to Vietnam as an infantryman. That's almost a death sentence back then, doing infantry at Vietnam. All right, and he wasn't a poor guy. He was middle income or above. White guy, could have done other things, could have went into other professions and never did that, but he chose to. And he chose to stay in government, advocating and working for the United States interest for nearly 5 decades, for a lifetime. Vindman, the lieutenant colonel. Fiona Hill, kind of a girl crush on her. The other one, Woods. No, Woods was...
the one with the accent?
Well, yeah, her, for sure. but Yovanovitch as well.
Yovanovitch.
My point is, they're lifetime public servants. And, man, I felt guilty watching them and getting a feel for who they were in their testimonies, because you can garner a little bit of truth out of them, right? But listening to their stories and what they've done and looking at their life, and you say to yourself, or at least I did anyway, and I'm saying it now, I'm going to be a hell of a lot more cautious when it comes to, you know, hanging out to dry some government bureaucrats. Because some of these people, again, not all, but we have a tendency to blanket everyone when we're angry or we want justice or we want a result. But I'm going to say, I was impressed by some of the people that are in our government system. And I'm saying to myself, we can screw it up. Watch this. This is not ugly, but it's the truth. We can screw it up in presidencies, but we've had this base of people that love this country with a bloody passion and will die for it. And they're the ones that have been serving quietly for generations. And I will say it's not the presidents that are getting this thing done. It's those people that choose to give their entire life to their service of their country as a whole, collectively. So yeah, it's military members also, but it's these people that go into government service, the foreign service that I didn't know as much about. I know a hell of a lot more now. Yeah. I've educated myself more. But that, to me, my point is that it was feel good for me to get that and to alter my view of what they are, who they are, because I felt like one of them when I was done. When they raised their hand and they swore the oath, I'm like, that's me. That's me. I believe in my oath. I believe in my oath to my Constitution. So I'm going to be a hell of a lot less or a little more cautious when it comes to, you know, ringing someone up for some things that are not going on in government, right? But I felt real good coming out of 19, knowing that these are the kind of people we have in positions that would give their life for their country and would do anything, including give their entire life. And I don't mean just like, you know, I'm going to go get shot at, but giving their entire life to not making money, not taking care of themselves, not advocating in their own self-interest, but doing what's best for the country. I felt good knowing that we still have some of those people. We have a lot of those people still in office or in position going into these 20s in a new decade, because, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to need it. So that's just for me. You know, I don't know if you guys watched any of that stuff, but I mean, we all know bureaucrats, and we all know people that sit on their ass and do nothing, and they're lazy, and they take advantage of the system. But for every one of those, there's others out there that are doing it the right way, that are actively working hard. I mean, technically, you mugs are bureaucrats, right? I mean, you guys were in education, in leadership, in positions, and you have a different perspective to see that, okay, well, it's easy to rip on me, but you don't know what I have to do over here. You don't know the decisions I have to make. And I think in general, like for general population, not me, because I never went into leadership and education. I didn't stay long enough. But there are things that you guys see that we do not. There are things that government sees that we do not. So I'm just putting that out there, that there's some damn good people we have in our position. I do believe that the United States has the best foreign diplomat service and definitely best military service on the planet. Those are positive for me coming out of 19, going into 20 in another decade. I think they keep us squared and grounded more than any other country. That's just me. Anyway, that's my spiel for that one. What you got?
The next one kind of piggybacks into both of those. I put it as the year of the protest. And I don't mean protest as in groups necessarily, but there were individuals who protested as well. You talked about, you know, the whistleblower and the bureaucrats, those type of things. The young lady, the climate activist that's from
Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, that young lady had a single protest across the country. People are speaking up when things are not right, whether it be a governmental a person, official, or whether it be a governmental process. People are speaking up and just not sitting back and going along for the ride. And I think that that's one of the things going along with you talking about these public servants, these bureaucrats, is that we've got to stop going along for the ride. When things are not right, we've got to find an apparatus. We've got to be that guy or that gal that's going to speak up and step out. And, you know, sometimes we can't always be afraid.
To me, it's like, and you're going to chuckle because you know this, it's civic engagement. All right, it's civic engagement, being actively involved in the process, not just complaining, not just going along for the ride like what you're saying. And let's face it, that goes on on both sides of the political spectrum, right? People just jump on and run with whatever the hell's there because it's easy, and they don't actively stand up and say, you know what, I may be in this party, I may have this ideology, but I'm going to call it out as wrong because I don't see it that way, and I'm going to stand up and let my voice be heard. Too many people, and I'm going to quote out to SuperMex Nation right now, too many of us, too many of you, literally just go along for the ride. It's your job as Americans, your point to the protest or the protester, to be heard, to be out in the public eye, to voice, if not your dissent, then definitely your opinion or your view. That's the American way. That is the American way. That has always been, I have always felt, the best part about us. Even when times are ugly, the best part of us is that we're free. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if we're not exercising that, then this country isn't as good as it should be.
I think that's part of what we're feeling right now is that our ability to live life, pursue happiness, is being challenged. And I think the educational system has a lot to do with that. You know,
Correct.
we for years there, better part of 2 decades, we did not teach kids to be critical thinkers. We wanted them to produce. They wanted producers. And society now, I think that's part of the pushback and the stresses that's going on with societies is that we don't have critical thinkers on a regular basis to go and cast a vote, do their own research on different candidates or everything. We're always waiting for, well, who do you want me? Who should I vote for? Who should? What should I do with this
My
proposal?
thing is like, find out for yourself. Do your own research.
But
Ask questions.
But I think the system, our society, has a role to play in that.
Correct. Absolutely.
How did you learn about the government and the processes of government? Through school.
I'm just a bill.
Right.
Only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol.
That was at Channel 47 ABC Saturday mornings.
Yeah,
that and high school civics classes.
Okay, so true story. The guy who used to sing that, the dude who sang that, he was an old jazz singer, blues singer. He just passed last week.
Oh, wow.
What's the name?
I don't know, Sheldon something. It was Sheldon something. But the guy who used to sing that, Schoolhouse Rock.
Three,
I'm cheating a little bit, but I did learn a lot. I did learn a lot from Schoolhouse Rock. Right?
I'm telling you, that's how I got to the Constitution, the preamble.
You can't even get that stuff anymore.
I got marked down points. The only reason I didn't get 100% on that Constitution test is because I couldn't say the preamble.
For 8th grade?
Yeah, I had to sing it.
You had to do that.
That's the only way I could get through it. Every time I had to stop and say it, and I had to think about. As long as it was in the melody, I was good. And she marked me down points for it.
Yeah, there's none of that anymore in
so that's
history classes, government
the
classes.
Question we got to ask. I mean, is there that requirement? I mean, we used to have to know the preamble.
No, it's not. 8th grade.
Man.
They cover it.
Man.
They cover it, but there is no Constitution test. That was a lot of stress in 8th grade. Having to get through that Constitution.
Because you did not go on to 9th grade unless you pass that test.
And, and so
that's gone.
So here's the scary critter, right? I mean, I make the argument right now that not enough people really know their damn Constitution. Because you have politicians running around, well, Alexander Hamilton said this. Well, James Madison said that. My thing is like, don't trust the damn politician. There was a country song that I did yesterday. What was it? My dog ran off, my truck broke down, and politicians lie. That's a current song, by the way. That's a good country song.
That's your top of 2019.
It was on
Who was that by?
I'm going to tell you right now. It wasn't after a few beers. This is for yesterday, for these guys yesterday. Beer never broke my heart. It might have been that one. Another hangover. After a few bears. Beer never broke my heart, I think. Luke Combs. Because the beer never broke my heart. Beer never broke my heart. There's always those evil women. That's what I said yesterday. But the point being is that, I mean, with where we're at right now, my argument is that if the average American actively engaged and knew their Constitution, I mean really knew their damn Constitution, then the president or the Congress or whoever couldn't get away with half the garbage they get away with right now.
We would understand what the hell impeachment is.
Yeah.
Impeachment is not a removal. But if you were to ask the common person, they think that the impeachment is the removal.
Well, that was the thing. The day after, there were so many people, and they're like,
what happened?
What happened? I thought he was gone. And it's like, no.
That's the indictment portion.
Yeah.
But so I'm with you on that. And you guys know I'm an old history teacher. I'm a constitutionalist, and it hurts me, and it's a feel good show, right? So, and by the way, it's not like in my way of doing my part. I think both of you gentlemen know that. I put that stuff on air. I mean, I actively talk about things that I think we need to know. I put it on there, and then I ask my audience to go move that out, share it, or talk to other people about it so that we get that message out, to a larger group. But, that does make me feel good.
Oh man, you gonna do all the doctor songs tonight?
You what?
Wow.
He's the one that called back.
I'll take that.
I kind of feel bad for you down here.
I'm gonna have to go through this all
Especially
night.
probably that student loan bill that you're now paying.
We're going to make him earn it now. We're going to make him earn it.
Yeah, he'll
All right,
make it back.
I'll be nice for a little while. A little while. A little while. Okay, so what was give me your title now because I want to write that
The
down.
protest. This protest,
Protest,
of
dissent.
activism.
Activism.
Okay.
Let me go with that. Activism.
Activism.
Protesting, I mean, people don't get it. Protest isn't always bad. It doesn't mean it's bad. But I like and hell, nowadays they've made activist a bad word too, right? Depending on what side you're on, if they don't like your side, you're a bad activist.
Yeah,
but I do believe that the very nature of the word activism, I mean, it's I was saying civic engagement, people getting involved in the public life, in the civic life.
Yeah.
You do that, you have politicians not getting away with half as much as what they're getting away with right now. And I don't think anybody will disagree with that.
Yeah.
All right, I've got activism.
Cool.
On you.
Okay, so I'm going to go kind of a completely different direction again, and we're going to talk about just a lot of the good things that people have been doing in this world lately. We have 2017,
activism.
2018, 2016, so much terrorism, so much death, so much dying. I know all that stuff is, on a downward trend, but really feel-good stories, people doing just good deeds when they're not being watched. For example, I have that Nextdoor neighbor app for our neighborhood. And it's kind of it's like a Facebook, but it's, all kinds of little different things. And there was one where there was a lady and she was at the grocery store and she parked her car and she got out and there was a purse in the car. So the person the lady obviously, who had the cart before left her purse in there. And what did this gal do? She got it. She didn't even look in it. She walked right up to the courtesy desk up at Vaughn's and said, I found this out in the parking lot, and turned it in. When do you, I mean, I know for me, I would be kind of like, looking around.
Where's the camera?
Where's the camera at? Someone's going to pop out and go, hey,
Someone on candid camera.
Yeah, but starting to hear a lot more of those feel-good stories. We always hear, and I'm going to bag on Hollywood, these people make millions and millions and millions of dollars. And they go and they get these T-shirts and, hey, look at me, I'm going to be out and I'm going to help the homeless and I've donated this. Or like Wahlberg, I don't know, I forget what brother Wahlberg it was. But, oh, hey, I left a 2020, tip for a lady at IHOP. Hey,
the 2020.
yeah, the 2020. Yeah, and hey, look at
I
me.
didn't see that.
Which one was
Yeah.
that though? Is that the one that's married to Jenny McCarthy?
Yeah, that's who it
or
was. Yeah,
Not
not the other one.
That's Donnie.
Yeah, Donnie. Yeah, but you hear all these Hollywood, that hey, get their face up on the wall and stuff like that. But you're starting to hear more and more just everyday people that are just doing good deeds. There was a kid a couple months back who was selling cookies in front of his house so he could raise money to pay off the school's student lunch debt.
Oh yeah, I heard about that too.
So you're starting to
This guy makes
see,
me feel bad.
you're starting to see a lot of this, and that's just like feel good stuff to me. That 2019, hopefully we're starting to kind of turn that tide to where more and more people start doing the right thing? What's the good in people that are
So
coming
that's
out
like
to do
doing
that?
good work and then sending out those vibrations so that it grows.
So it grows.
Did you guys hear about
Exactly.
the custodian in Madera Unified?
Where he saw he
house fire,
yeah,
saw
he
the
was at
smoke
work
coming
and he
up.
saw the house fire and he went and he saved a couple
It was
people or
three-
whatever.
I believe it was 3 people that was in
Yeah.
the house. It was right at the crack
Yeah.
of dawn. It
Yeah.
was like 6:30 in the morning, whatever. And he was opening up.
Yeah.
I think he was putting up the flagpole or something.
Yeah.
And saw the smoke coming out of the house. And where the school is, it's not in Madera.
Yeah.
It's down on like Avenue 7 and 7.5
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
26 or 8, whatever. Yeah, he saw the smoke coming out and went across there and was able to get the people out of there and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was real humble about it. Unfortunately, our school district.
Yeah, I heard
because
about. Oh yeah, they blew it
blasted
up
it
and
all
Man,
over
me,
the
media
place.
blasted it. Yeah.
Hey, I'll
But
go
the
on
guy
record.
was just as humble
Yeah,
about
I'll go
it.
on record and say this because you're in Madera, you fan. I love Madera. I love that little community. You got, I mean, I'm not gonna like say that it's so much better than anyone, but I want to go on record. 'Cause I've got a lot of kids that I've worked with in Madera, coaching and other things, right? And I taught for a little bit in Madera, but man, there's a deep like. The community feel, and even though, and I'm going to say this on air, even though some of the Madera people don't even realize they are that, they're good people, and they do things. They would put themselves out.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, because I know a lot of those types of people that, I mean, would bend over backwards for coach to do things for me, to help me.
Yeah.
Hey, coach, I mean, you need some gas money? Hey, coach, I mean, I'll lend you my car. You can take the kids over here. Hey,
Yeah.
coach, I want to feed the boys tonight.
Yeah.
Mom's bringing me tamales and you know, I mean, just good
stuff.
people.
Yeah.
So that totally doesn't surprise me
Yeah.
about a young Madera dude, because they just like do the right thing.
Yeah.
He was, like I said, he was real humble when they wanted to.
They wanted to blow it up and did a big
What's
media
that?
blast
What's
on
humble,
it.
It was
right?
him and there was a, I don't know who the lady was, but there was a lady that was there with them as well, because he was actually going in and out of the house, and another lady was on the phone with 911.
Yeah.
But they were just as humble about it. They just that's what people supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to run with that good vibration. I think okay. So we had a young boy on a couple weeks ago, Jeremiah Hunter.
Yeah, yeah.
told you
The
about,
receiver. I know him. West Side.
West Side Church, man.
Church of God.
Hey,
Kid.
I was like,
know him.
that kid told me he's from West Side. He told me he's from West Side Church. I'm like, I know what kind of boy you are. I'm like, all right, okay. I mean, this is a good kid. And see, here's the thing. We had him on the show because, you know, Central just won their first ever state championship. And, you know, obviously, cool. Kid's a phenomenal athlete. I mean, he's a beast.
From a great family. Both sides, great family.
I got to tell you, you know, and I'm like, I'm sitting here right next to the boy, and we had his elementary school teacher on, Ben. I don't know if you knew that, but Ben was his elementary coach.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We took a little spin different because the elementary, middle school guys never get any attention. It's usually,
So
you
it's
know,
high school.
once they move on. And I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
that part, but those guys get enough attention. So I gave some attention to the elementary coach, who was his first coach. And he coached with the dad, Jackie, JR. They were on the same, you know, they were coaching staff, and so Jeremiah was on the team. And I'm sitting here next to this kid, and I'm, you know, maybe you two gentlemen kind of, you've been in education, right? He said, yes, sir. And I'm real leery when a kid says yes, sir to me nowadays. I'm not joking. When a kid says,
What happened to the feel good part of this show?
that's coming. That's coming. That's coming. That's the point. I'm giving you context, right? Giving you context. But let's face it. Everybody in education has felt that where some kids say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. And you know they don't mean it.
Eddie Haskell's.
They're big.
Eddie Haskell.
Do some Eddie Haskell, you
Yeah.
get old on me. But yeah, that's some dirty, like sarcastic, and they don't mean it.
Right.
This kid said it multiple times, and I'm like, this little kid actually means it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I got to talk to mom and pop because they both came. Spent some time with mom and pop, and I'm like, good country folk, and I mean country in the sense that they do their West Side church. Boy's humble, boy's respectful, and the boy gives a damn about people other than himself, even though he's a phenomenal athlete. And I'm just like, I felt good.
Where's he going to school? Where did he sign?
He's going to Cal.
Oh, to Cal.
Full
Okay.
ride to Cal.
Okay.
You know, for those of you guys who don't know, it's University of Berkeley. It's a hell of an institution, not just for the football, but it's a damn good university,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah, it's a good school.
So I'm real happy, you know, that we got him. I thought I threw that back at you, but that's kind of the thing, is that get that humility out there, get the good feeling, and I'm saying for us in particular with young people, right?
Right.
So I'm going to go on air and say I'm going to do actively more of that. I'm going to get more young people on air that are doing it right, that are doing right. Here's the thing, because if we don't tell them they're doing the right thing, maybe they don't know that doing it this way is, well, I guess that's okay too, right? Yeah. So, I actively said more than a few times, like humility, respect. I can't help myself, right? I'm no soldier, but we have to, again, you two being educators like I used to be, we have to give them the model and the metric. We have to tell them they're doing the right thing. We have to give them example, and we have to let them know, hey, you're doing it right, young blood. I like what you're doing. Yep. And then they continue to do it that way. That's how you change, you know, the dynamic. So I like your little business of the good vibrations. It started with, what was it, Donnie Wahlberg, right, KP? Yes, sir. But it's going to end with, I think, Mark Wahlberg.
Here we go.
Marky Mark.
Can you feel that?
Are you gonna dance?
A little bit. Uh-oh, watch out now. You gotta feel it. Yeah. Swing it, Swaybo.
Swing. There we go.
That's Marky Mark.
Yeah, okay.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Good vibrations.
Yes.
For a good call on the part of Swaybo right there. We do need to actively do that. So I'm going to make an effort to make sure we do that on air as we grow the network at least once a week. I mean, maybe we haven't talked about you guys individually or collectively, but you and I have been doing segments on education. You and I have been doing segments more on political, and maybe we find a way to make it with you guys individually or separately or whatever. Maybe we do some more feel good stories about kids, education, that are doing the right thing. And maybe paying some attention to kids that are not just to stay the stud wide receiver, but kids in other things that are also doing good work in arts and sciences and history, heaven forbid, right?
I have an idea for you on that. I won't say it on the air, but I have an idea for that.
Okay. Alex, we're going to grow. We're expanding. Okay. We're going to do more content.
I have an idea for you on that one.
We are definitely doing more content. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Swaybo. So what do we got left? I only got one left. I want to save mine for last.
My last one is a funny one.
All right, go ahead.
It's a simple one.
Yeah, we can use some laughter.
Okay. Nationals, Astros, Giants.
Huh?
Nationals, Astros, Giants.
Are you talking about
Fresno Farm system of baseball? It's got to be the franchise of the decade.
Of the decade, huh?
Right. We got a championship in 19.
The Giants won 2.
They won 2.
Giants won 2.
Astros won 2.
But they cheated.
I don't care.
They won
2. And the Nationals.
They won.
Fresno's farm system has 5 of the 10 world championships in its decade. And and the reason why that feels good to me, every time I talk to somebody about Fresno putting on their big boy pants, for 500, supposed to be 600,000 people. We are larger than most professional franchise cities. If you do your homework. NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball. I would be willing to bet you that we're probably about the 12th largest city somewhere in there. Yep. And they're telling me about how we cannot sustain professional athletics here. We're never going to do it unless we change our mindset. We have the
program. We got the programs going.
What happened with the soccer team? Soccer team did well. We just lost him, I think.
Yeah, because we couldn't. They couldn't work out a deal with the city on a stadium.
It was a stadium, right?
Listen, the city's stupid.
Crazy.
I've done things with the stadium, and I'm not a big fan of that. The situation, the way they do it.
They
outsource. They outsource. The management,
the
management of that facility, yet we pay for it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, I've done events at the stadium, and I'll just say it wasn't feel good.
We have the financial.
It wasn't a good vibration.
We have the financial components here to be able to put together.
Correct.
It doesn't have to be,
No, they just needed a standalone stadium for their soccer program.
7,000 seat stadium.
Yeah.
That is a multiple-use stadium for soccer and football will cover itself, I bet you, in 20 years. They just played the California State Bowl game at
Cerritos.
Cerritos.
Yep.
I thought it was going to be this big bowl. It's Cerritos. Two bleachers, sets of bleachers on each side.
Yeah, Cerritos not. Yeah. It's an older stadium.
And people got to travel from way up above Sacramento to get down there. So why are we not looking at who we are, put our big boy pants on, big girl dress on,
Watch yourself.
and step up to the plate?
You got that
once we once we put our mind to it, there is no reason why we can't support. Maybe it's never going to be a major league system, but there's no reason why we should not be in the second division, in particular in soccer.
I don't know. Listen, we're not shrinking in terms of growth. Our growth pattern is
We're
pretty
supposed
good.
to be over 600,000 people when the census comes out.
Greater metro area, we're like close to 1 million. You know, the whole thing. Okay,
right.
I mean, so we're not small.
Right. No.
Okay, we're not the biggest city on the planet
Right.
in this country, but we're not small. And my point is, we're growing.
Yeah.
We are growing.
And the
fast.
feel-good part for me is we have evidence of success. The soccer team didn't win a championship, but I want to say they made it to the semis, the Foxes.
Yeah, they made it pretty high.
I want to say it was either, they
but
made
last
it,
year
I
they
think it was
made
the semis they made
Yeah.
it to. But now, if I'm not mistaken, they're gone. Because
they are
we
gone.
we don't have a facility to be able to sustain that.
That's unfortunate.
The high schools around here clamoring for a stadium. You know, why don't we go into a collective joint use agreement, the county, the city, and the major school districts around here, to be able to put together that facility? There's no, every other section, we talked
like
about.
somebody's.
We talked about refereeing, right? You congratulate them on refereeing. The not Northern Cal, Sac Joaquin section above this, I did the Division 5 championship game. What do they do?
What did you ref? Football?
Football. They take the top 5 games and put them, top 3 games and put them all in the same Sac City.
Yeah.
And the other 2 were played at Lincoln.
Yeah.
Why are we still playing individual games all up and down the section? Why are we not bringing them to the major metropolitan area hub, Fresno, and doing it? Because they don't have facilities. We do it in basketball.
We do basketball.
Yeah, we do it in
We do-
basketball.
yeah,
I
we
want to say we
do.
do
Yeah,
it in baseball. Some of the other sports they also do
Basketball
it as
for
well.
sure.
Wrestling.
Wrestling
Wrestling
and
it goes in
basketball for
Bakersfield.
sure.
But it's because so Rabobank has had, and I'll speak specifically to this, but I'm going to give you another curve. So that's for high school, but for like the club system, it's always done at Selland for the state, and for all
Probably
ages.
because of proximity. People can
Well,
come in.
Location,
Yeah.
because of the distances between the north and the south. And I said this on air yesterday. People don't realize how long or how lengthy California is from north to south.
And there is
We're
really
big.
there's no east-west throughways getting through there. 58
right.
and 80,
Right.
and that's it.
So we do wrestling for all the club stuff. So from little guys, 5, 6-year-olds, for the entire state here,
Right.
and in two-year increments all the way up to high school and open, meaning the guys who are out of school.
So we have-
all at Selland.
Yeah.
So that's the feel-good part about it is that we have evidence. I didn't know about the wrestling, but there is evidence for us to be able to do those things. We just haven't put forth the will. That's the downside of it. But the good side of it is that the Nationals, Astros, and Giants won 5
Yep.
World Series, and their farm clubs were housed here in Fresno.
Yep.
I'm gonna get on. Okay, I'm back up. Okay, so got you there. Got any more? What you
Yeah.
got?
So my day job is I work at an alternative site. Okay. And when you think of an alternative opportunity site, you kind of think of kids that have gotten in trouble, and not necessarily. We have all types of kids. And so for me, a kind of a personal feel good is, so when I go and I teach at night at community college, and more in 2019, and I know it's a wave and it's going to continue, I see more and more of my students that I've had in years past during my day job teaching at the alternative site, now going to college
Good.
and taking my classes and, for lack of a better term, kicking ASS
Being successful.
and being successful. And because a lot of times, we always say this as educators when kids graduate, hey, come back, keep in contact, let us know. And it's very few and far between those students that come on back and let us know how they're doing. And so for me, it's when I see these kids in my classes at night, and they've got jobs or their families or kids, and they're working and they're going to school and they're being successful and they're doing things to better themselves and they're being successful. That's kind of my overall 2019 good story when I
That's
see
good
that stuff.
education.
And then it really kind of brings home to me, because I've kind of cycled through education. I was at the high school, and then I became a principal at middle school, and then I said, I was kind of like you, I'm done, and I went back, and I could have went anywhere I wanted to, and I said, alternative site's a new challenge for me, and it brings it back to, I'm meant to be where I'm at. I'm meant to be teaching at night. I'm meant to be, to give these kids, that encouragement when they leave my school and they go to community college, still encouraging them, still seeing them be successful and just keep going and growing and growing and growing and growing. And so I'm seeing more and more of that. And so that's kind of my overall arching feel-good story. That's what makes me drive. And
That's good in any decade, by the way.
yeah, but just in 2019, I'm seeing more and more, and I'm going to continue.
Got to continue. But
Yeah.
I do think it's like generally, like, look, we're all of, I do that show, we're all of a certain age. We're not young guys anymore.
Speak for yourself.
We're not ancient. And I'm doing the middle. Work with me now. Work with me.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not kids, okay? But I think for all of us, I mean, we're kind of at a good space, and I talk to you guys individually too. We're all at a good space in life where, like, we've lived enough, done a lot, and feel good. There you go, the inception for the show, right? But feel good about what we've done with our lives, and feel good, and I know you two are with me on this one, I feel good about where I'm going right now. I feel like this decade, this year in particular, I'm going to kick a lot of ass and do a lot of great things that go beyond just, like me and my family and my individual. And I think you guys all know me and my family, we do a lot more than just that anyway. But I'm really, really aggressive going into this coming year. I've got a lot planned, and probably some with you guys anyway, if not here, then in other capacities. But I'm really looking forward to, like I say, the coming year in that capacity, because like you said, I think your line, it's kind of like you get to a point like, it's meant to be. This is what I'm meant to be doing, right?
Right. Yep.
Here we got you again.
Baby, lay on back and relax. Kick your pretty feet up on my dash. No need to go nowhere fast. Let's enjoy right here where we at. Who knows where this road is supposed to lead?
Okay. I haven't heard this. I kind of like that.
It's a great tune. This was on my top 10 last night.
Okay. What is it called? Florida what?
Florida Georgia Line and BB Rexa. So she's a pop singer, and they're a country duo. And I really love these dudes, man. They sing the song
I'm
Cruise.
assuming you had the Old Country Road or whatever. What's the song with the? What is it?
Billy Cyrus.
Is that who it is?
Oh, with Lil Nas and Billy Ray?
Yeah,
I did. I did.
That had to be on there.
I did. But listen, I like Lil Nas, like, here. And Billy Ray, like, came out of nowhere, like, what the hell is he doing? Like, jumping back in the business, right? Because he hasn't done much.
I don't know
other
really
than make
either
money.
one of them, but I like the combination.
Okay, he just made money. So that was the point that I definitely had it on, because, I mean, it was the most streamed song in country of the whole year.
Maybe that's
One of the
why I
most.
liked it.
That, because of the collaboration. Okay, you got a rapper with, and I said this is kind of what we did last night. You got a young, he's young, really young. He's like teens, 20s.
And he's LGBT, correct?
Is
if
he?
I'm not mistaken, he is. Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a young black gay rapper.
Get the hell out of here. I didn't know that.
I thought that's what I read about his story.
A booba?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay, did not know that at all. So even more so, right? He's a young dude, black dude, he raps. You got an older dude, white dude, who's country. And they found a way to work together. They found a way to do things together, which gives me optimism for the show, right? That's the whole point is
Did you hear
that
about how much pushback they got from the industry?
I know they did. I know they did.
That's how I got kind of turned on to the song.
It's a different little critter.
Listening to the stories about the pushback, because they were racking up all these awards. And
They won a
everything.
load. The most streamed song, I think. I want to say that one wasn't the most streamed song of the year. Senorita was.
What is it called?
Old Town Road.
Old Town Road. Okay.
Old Town Road.
Old Town Road.
So they weren't the most streamed, because now stream is more of a metric. When kids are streaming that stuff, that's more of a metric than just going to buy a record at the, like, we used to do. But it was the most streamed, and a whole bunch of others. Senorita was.
Which one is Senorita? I think it might be the other one.
That's my girl right there. Camila Cabello, and
you can't get to it.
I can. Shawn Mendes. And it's okay.
I don't know
Another.
none of those names.
Well, it's another. They're young. But see, those two individually are like at the height of their game right now. Individually, girl
I'll probably
and
have heard
guy,
the song.
pop. You will once you hear it, you'll know it. But it's a hybrid. I like to tell people, when you hear her singing her songs, it's clearly Latin. I mean, there's definitely beat there, but it's also rock, and I really dig on it. So let me do this real quick.
Little baby, just let it be. So won't you ride with me, see where this thing goes. If it's meant to be, it'll be, baby, if it's meant to be.
And I like her. She's
I
got
like
a
that.
Oh, it's a great tune, man. It's a great tune.
It's a good tune.
Listen, here's what I'm doing too. So all my specials, right? I'm taking those lists and I'm creating YouTube playlists for all my followers and subscribers.
Okay.
Here's what.
Tell 'em.
Well, you know what? I had a young dude told me. He's like a super fan. This kid's a super fan. He watches my stuff because there are things that he does not know, and so he literally comes to me to learn something new about something that he's not familiar with.
Yeah.
In this case, country. He doesn't listen to country. But he says he's listening to more of the songs, the playlist that I gave him, the top 10, and that he had, like you said, oh man, that's pretty good. Like,
I mean,
okay,
I hear songs all the time, but I just don't know who the artists are.
It takes
I like
work,
what I
man.
like.
Too busy being a doctor. Watch this.
Hey, I haven't had time to enjoy.
Too busy being the doctor. Okay, so I think are we kind of good?
Yeah.
We're getting close. So
I'm
I'm going to
good.
wrap up with this one because it's like, who would I be if I didn't do this? But and I was going to do this actually one of the first, but you hit me with the women thing, and so I had to roll with it. That was going to be my last one, where women are going, what women are becoming, and what
That's
women.
got to be first, man. That's what.
Well, that's kinda
what I'm
saying.
saying. It was my feel good. I gotta. People say you're crazy.
In terms of significance, I think that is the single most significant item going into a new decade and where we go from here. Now think about it. We're literally about 100 years from women achieving the right to vote.
Oh, this is it. It's this year.
So that's why I said it's almost
going at 101.
It's almost exactly 100.
Yeah,
So
2019.
roughly.
I mean, 1919,
give or
wasn't
take,
it? If I'm not
give or take
mistaken.
some. So it's almost a little over 100. It's actually a little over 100. So a little over 100 years, women first achieved the right to vote. And I think, and I'm going to say it, the world's their oyster because they're not going to be denied, and women are going to get elected, and they're going to run things, and you better get square with it, gentlemen. So that was kind of like it is my number one, but you called it out quick, so I had to roll with it. This one's the other I had. So now, and this is all positive, and I don't want to be negative, but you guys, it's the news over the last few days, right? So my boys' unit, 82nd Airborne, just got deployed.
No, they're the ones in the sky. They just. I heard about that.
Yeah. So the 82nd Airborne just got deployed. My son still has a lot of partners with guys that he served with, the guys that he was in the unit with, and it's like I do this. I have done this all year. If there's a couple guys that get greased in Iraq, don't get any crazy with me about what I say or how I say it. Bottom line is they get killed, and we've kind of become inoculated and almost immune to
The death.
a poor kid dies and like, oh, I feel sorry for the press to your mom, whatever. We do that, but it does mean something to me. So I have made a note I try at least in our Facebook group, if not on here directly, and I do that too, is I actively talk about or say the names of the young men and women that die, for this country, and that's a constant. That is a one constant that we still are fortunate enough to, even though we don't have the same amount, and even though we like to cry and complain about the kids we have in this country, there are still badass young people serving this country, doing it right. And here's where I'm going with this. A lot of them now are beginning to come out after roughly 15 to 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they're beginning to come into leadership positions. There were more young vets from the Iraq-Afghanistan war era in the Congress than ever before, only superseded by the amount of women.
Right.
And by the way, some of those women are war vets.
Yeah, they're vets themselves.
So I'm really optimistic. Watch how this goes. I'm really optimistic about where this goes because I do believe that those young people are not going to have a problem with crossing the aisle and working on issues with Democrat or Republican because for the most part, you have some discrepancy here or there, but for the most part, those people, like myself, will die for their country before a party or a president. I'll say it. Party or presidents doesn't mean jack to me. My country and my oath to Constitution. For us, fortunately, we have more of those young people now getting elected to positions all over the country, not just Congress, but in state legislatures, governorships, etc. I think that is a positive, a big positive, going into this next decade. That we're going to have a greater percentage of people that have served actively in combat or war zones that come out and serve and will serve the country
In a different capacity, right?
be correct, correct. But and to add to it, but will serve their country before party or president. And we need that.
Yeah,
I mean, we really do.
Yeah,
Whether-
we got to get back to this. This partisanship stuff we got around. This divide right now is doing nobody.
You know, I like to tell people all the time, I swore an oath to a constitution. I didn't swear an oath to any individual or any party. Didn't do that. I swore an oath to my constitution. And it's how you run with it, right?
Enemies, foreign and domestic.
That is it.
That means internal and external.
There's a little bit of those on all ends right now. So anyway, that's what I'm optimistic about. There are more vets that have been elected to Congress in a long, long time. And I do think it's kind of cool that there are some female vets that are now really kicking ass and doing great things. They're really level-headed and they don't get too far out in front of their skis. They really analyze things for what's good for like the whole. They don't look like, I got to take care of my constituency. Like, is this good for the country?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you get elected as a representative, you know, in Congress, but you're there as a body for the whole country.
Right.
And don't just take care of your people because they're going to get you elected. Take care of this country. And then let it work backwards. So that's my optimism for going forward. And I
agree.
apologize. You guys know I'm a vet and I bleed hard with it, but I think I'm optimistic, you know, on that. So I'm going to do this. So I'm going to give you the one that you called for. See if you recognize. So let's do the two songs for you guys. We're about wrapped
I only
up
got
here.
one, and we already talked about it.
Then I'm going to give you this one.
Actually, that's no list.
I'll give you the one that you asked for. See if you recognize. I got a crush on this little girl.
Is a country song also?
Nope. It's pop, but it's Latin.
I don't know this one.
Good dancing song. Love it.
I've not heard of it.
Don't get
Who is
started
this?
on her. Camila Cabello. Cabello.
I've not heard that song.
She's one of the biggest pop stars in the world right now. And so her boyfriend is one of the biggest male pop stars in the world right now, Shawn Mendes.
Okay.
He's got a lot of good current tunes. So they partnered.
I'll take your word for it.
They're hooking up. This is a catchy little tune, man. I think this one was the most streamed song of the year. All over the world.
Señorita.
All
Okay.
over the world. But you can feel the Latin, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm a sucker for that. I like to dance. And there's a lot of Latin music you could dance to. I like to dance. I like to get up in the business, right? All right. What you got? You got one?
Yeah, I got one, and so my wife is really big on watching The Voice.
All right.
So you got Blake Shelton, and so there's
Which one?
there's God's Country.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And what kind of struck me, I'm not a big country fan and stuff. What kind of struck me was just the title of the song, God's
Yeah,
Country.
yeah.
You know, it seems like for years we've been very going the other way when it comes to, you know, God and higher powers and all that stuff. Faith and just with the way of the world and stuff. And so it's just kind of interesting that, you know, he's got a song called God's Country that's, you know, top song of 2019. So that kind of caught me a little bit there, you know.
Okay, so it narrowly missed my cut. It was my like 11 or 12
Okay.
on my top 10.
Yeah, okay.
Here's the critter. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think, and the thing is I like the dude because of the voice.
Yeah.
I never knew who the hell Blake Shelton was.
No.
Until he came on The Voice. And I've
Yeah.
watched every Voice season
Yeah.
since it started, right? And it's not like he's got the greatest country voice.
No.
He's country,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have the greatest voice.
No.
But somehow, some way, this dude
He makes
is
it
like,
work.
yeah,
He makes it work. He makes
and
it work,
he
yeah.
is like, he is synonymous
Yeah.
with country right now.
Mm-hmm.
And a
I
lot,
know the
and
name.
largely,
I know the name. I don't know any of
largely,
his music.
largely through personality
Yeah.
and charisma.
Yeah.
He is a different critter.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the best singer in country. I don't. But it's like you can't get away with it. You can't get away from it. And so, yeah, God's Country was on my list. He's had a couple other good hits, but I got you.
You got it?
Yeah, it was on my list.
Okay.
I had to narrow it down.
Yeah. So just the title of the song.
Putting it out.
Yeah, just putting it out there. We've been so anti-God, this, afraid. Yeah, I think that's probably a good term.
Right outside of this one church town, there's a gold dirt road to a whole lot of nothing got a deed to the land, but it ain't my ground. This is God's country.
It just kind of gives you some chills right there a little bit.
We're not a one church town unless you're in West Fresno. West Side Church, man. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. You got a lot over there. You got more than a few. You got But look at the way I grew up and the partners I knew that were from the Triangle. You know that triangle over there. All my partners that I knew were West Side, West Side Church. A lot of them went to West Side Church of God.
That's one of the original ones that was there. It was
There's some older
there
ones.
was six basic black churches. That was in West Fresno.
Officially, are you what? If you don't
Church
mind,
of God in Christ. I'm with my dad.
denomination.
Church of God in Christ.
Okay,
There's a
you?
difference.
I'm Christian.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm Christian.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
Catholic officially.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we're all Christian.
Yeah.
Technically, we're all Christian.
I was born and raised Catholic, but
Really?
Yeah, I was. But
So what did you?
I
If
honestly,
you do church, is it like a non-denominational?
it's basically a Christian church, non-denominational, because when I was born and raised Catholic, and nothing, like my brother's devout, my mom's devout, I would sit there and I would try to listen to the sermons. I'm going, what the hell is this guy talking about? And this was when I was a teenager too. It wouldn't. But then I would go and I started branching out to different churches and stuff like that, and just, you know, I could go to a Christian church and it just kind of seems like where it's non-denominational, where, you know, they're talking about relevant things in my language, and it would be like me getting up there and telling my story or preaching and this and that. That's kind of how they're young, they're energetic, they're hip people, and hitting with, you know, the things that are going on. Whereas for me, it was kind of archaic and just antiquated, listening to, you know, a Catholic priest talk about different things, and it's like, you know, what?
Yeah, you know, full disclosure, man. It is like
Yeah.
being a Catholic's hard.
Yeah.
Being a Catholic
Especially
is
if you got
hard
bad
business.
knees.
Yeah, sit down, kneel down, stand up.
I'm sorry.
That was another
I
thing too. You
apologize.
know what?
I'm sorry.
I was going to say that in the beginning, but
I just went to 2 funerals.
Oh,
both,
man.
both Catholic
Look,
funerals.
Yeah.
Being Catholic is a tough business. Man.
It's a
It
tough
is
business,
So
yeah,
I've stayed. I'm not
Yeah.
like a perfect Catholic, but
Yeah.
you know what it was for me, and I won't go too far because it wasn't a religious show, right? But you know, we're talking about faith, and I'm kind of with you on that. You know, I don't like overtly go out and tell people I'm this, and this, and by extension you should be. But you know, I've been Catholic. I went off into the world, went to other countries, went to other places, tried a lot of different, learned a lot about a lot of different, did a lot of study in a lot of different religions, just about every religion under the sun, historically, taking in information. And when it was all over and done, I was like, I'm still Catholic.
Have you guys
mean,
seen this new deal called Jesus? And it's a story. I wish I knew more about it.
You mean the movie?
It's not a movie. It's a series. It's a series.
This was
And-
Michelle Monaghan, wasn't it? Or isn't it?
No. This is the story of Jesus, and it's told by all these theologians, different aspects of it, but it's told through the Gospels as well as history books. So they're giving you a perspective of Mary as the mother and the birth and you know the trials and tribulations. But it's not their opinion they're given to you. It's what they've read either through the Gospels or what they've read through history book. And so they talk about the Romans and how the Roman Empire and all that kind of stuff. It's real interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
I think have you seen it, KP? Yeah. Yeah. There's only, I think this is season 1 and it's 7 or 8 episodes. And where I'm at right now, it's with when he's right before he gets crucified.
Okay.
And so it kind of gives you more detail. I thought it was a situation where, you know, Jesus, they arrest him, you know, they keep him for a couple of days and they crucify him. Oh no, it was a period of time. They passed him back and forth to different authorities. Yeah, so it's giving me a new perspective on it.
They honestly did not know what to do.
When you talked about Christianity, there's a piece in there, one of the stories where it talks about kind of how Judaism and Christianity breaks.
Correct.
And it has to do with one of the responses that Jesus has after they arrest him. Or maybe it was the Last Supper.
Okay.
The Passover, and if there was a deviation that was made during Passover, and that deviation was what they're saying was the creation of Christianity.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so I mean, my dad gets mad at me all the time, but I tell him that the Bible is the greatest history book ever written.
Yeah, it is.
Theologians don't see it that
No.
way. Clergy doesn't see it. It's the Word of God. And
They've got their reasons.
I look at it
They got the reason.
for the history content for me and trying to do
That's
geography
interesting you say
and
that, 'cause, like,
perspective and that
so,
type of thing.
As I will say, a big component to me knowing more history, wanting to learn more history, understanding the concept of history, was because of the Old Testament. I read the hell out of the Old Testament. See, I did that, right? It's a bad word. But it's I read the hell out of the Old Testament. Well, correct. But my point is the Old Testament. There's so much there. We're talking about thousands of years ago, in advance of Christ, in advance of that, 1,000, 2,000 years before that. There's a lot of history there,
But they would say-
contextually.
but the Old Testament, basically by what I just shared, then would not be considered Christianity. It's all Judaism.
Judaism, correct.
And so it helped me.
Understanding
as a
it, yeah,
'cause
understanding
until I had a concept of what the difference was.
Right.
But now I can take it back to that. Now I'm eager to go back in and read some more and learn some more about out of the Gospels and the Scriptures, as well as the time period, the historical
Correct.
time period, to see if it makes more sense to me about
The split.
the split. It's not so much the split, but the creation, the deviation
That would be
from
Christianity.
Judaism into Christianity.
Okay, give me your song.
I don't have a song now.
I thought you had
on
one.
a song. No, that was it. Old Town Road or whatever it's called.
There you
Old,
go.
Old Home Road. The gay black rapper and the,
There you go.
and the cowboy.
Yeah.
Okay.
See?
I got it right here.
He's got a song right
I did play this next. So interesting enough, I did play that. That was on my list yesterday. Let me get that up real quick. There you go.
Yeah. Even the video is kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, it is. It's funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
I got the horses in my bag. Horse stock is attached. Head is matted black. Got the bushes black to match.
there. We go.
Okay. I did not know the dude was gay. Like you just informed me. I didn't know that. Did not know that at all. You got any more?
That's it, man.
Okay, I'll give you one last one. Man, I've been listening. I did my top songs of the year, and then I did country separate because I was like, I'm a head case for this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh man, I can't remove that one. I like that too much. But I went back and I pared it down. I did a separate country list. Then I did a top 20 songs list because there's just too much. If I'm doing like all genres, right? Just way too much. But I've been wrestling with this all week since we did the songs of 2019, generic, pop, rock, all of the above. And I just kept coming back to this damn song. And this kid is one of the best artists out there, period. Collaborates with everybody under the sun and makes incredible music, great story to boot. And it wasn't my number one for the year, but watch this. Because you're SuperMex Nation and you're watching faithfully right now, even though it's more than an hour, you're probably tired. And it's Friday night. This one this over the last week or two or three, and for the whole year, by the way, I've been listening to it all year, the whole song, all year. It just made my top 10 for the decade. Okay. It's going to be on my list next week for the decade. And it's just a damn good song, well constructed, everything about it. Just I can't get away with it, away from it. Collaboration.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Was that UB40, huh?
Innocent say I keep her check. She was all bad, but nevertheless. Calling it quits now, baby, I'm a wreck. Crash at my place, baby, I'm a wreck.
Stop there. Song Sunflower, Post Malone.
Oh,
Check it out.
Post Malone,
I mean, the guy's this and Sway Lee, my bad. So
Okay.
Post Malone is everywhere.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
kid,
I know that name.
He is, everywhere. Everybody in the music industry wants to cut something with this guy.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where like, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what the ball coming down the plate is. You know you're going to hit it. You're in the zone. You're locked in. Whatever he cranks out right now is gold.
He's
is
hot.
gold.
Yeah.
And this one has lasted with me literally all year because it came off the soundtrack for Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, the animated version last year. It was at the end of last year. I've been listening to this song all damn year, and I told the guy the other day, or I said yesterday actually, for the 20 songs, this is a hit 10 years from now. This is a hit 10 years ago. It's a hit. Period. It's that good. I just can't get past it. I mean, he's got other great songs, and they're all good, right? But this one, I can just kick back and listen to this all night. It's just a damn good song. So Sunflower, Post Malone. You heard it here first. That one's going to be on my top 10 of the decade. And I have my list already compiled. I'm up about 25 songs. And so I've got to like winnow away, down to my final 10. That's hard, man. It's hard work. Yeah. This is hard work that I'm doing here. This is really difficult work.
I got some time. Maybe I'll invest in listening to the radio.
Yeah, I'll force to listen to a little bit. Forced to listen to a little. Okay, so I think we are good, gentlemen. First things first, I want to thank both of you for being here. Yeah. I haven't seen you in a while. Got nothing but love for both of you. Yeah. Ka-choink, watch that. And then we will be, the gentlemen are back. Boys are back in town. Boys are back in town. Yeah. Play some more Doctor songs.
Please.
So either Swainbo or Dr. Miller will be on shows as we go into the future. I'm going to increase content. There will be more programming, more shows, and either the gentlemen here, as they're able to, because they've got busy lives, but as they can, they'll be with me or helping me create and do, and definitely some education stuff, definitely some political stuff that we need to get to. And, I'm really looking forward to this year. There's going to be some really cool stuff that we do. And I'm looking forward to you guys, if you can, be able to help me do it, not just on the network, but charitable things, helping the community, building, definitely where I'm at. You know what I'm doing on my side of town. I'm gonna forcibly drag West Fresno into the future. My West Fresno, not the old school West Fresno. I'm going to grab him by, in Spanish, I'm going to grab you by the greñas and I'm going to drag you into the future, whether you like it or not.
You could be kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming. Hey, listen, in some cases, some of them are kicking and screaming. They like things the way they are. They don't want to change anything.
Yeah, that's true.
So that is Cheap Date Night. First of the year and first of the decade, ladies and gentlemen, with Swainbo and Dr. Miller. Like that, Dr. Miller. But we'll be
Dr.
back.
Miller.
Okay, so this is what we'll
Dr.
do.
Miller.
So I think you guys are both good for next week.
Yeah.
Did we say Friday?
I can do Friday.
You want to do Friday?
That's fine with me. Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't have any more football, so I'm good for a while.
Okay, so we will be back on this terrible trio right here.
Yep.
Watch this. White to black to brown. See that? We're the United Shades, man. Look at all the colors we got here. Look at all the colors we got.
Yeah, my beard,
Hey,
too,
you getting
man.
shiny over there. You getting shiny. Who's shiny? Who's shiny, man? I'm going to have to get the makeup lady in here.
Yeah, exactly.
But all gentlemen will be back next week, next Friday. And so this is what we're going to do. We're going to wrap up the decade.
So I got homework. I actually got to go look for some songs.
A little bit. Well, we can do songs if you want. No, I don't
you said, you're talking.
No, I'm talking about like issues.
Oh, okay, I'm good with that.
Kind of what we're doing
I'm good
here.
with that.
Kind of what we're doing here. But let's wrap up the 2010s, and like we did tonight, carry it into the 20s.
Oh, yeah, I got a few of those.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
And so what I'll do, I'll
Great
tell you what.
decade.
I'll tell you what. I'll leave it a little more open. It doesn't necessarily have to not be political, not be this, not be that. I'm gonna let both of you guys go free and roam.
Okay.
Let's say another 3 to 4 major items you're carrying out of the 2010s, going into the 20s, that you liked or that you want to see going forward.
All right.
That's the only homework.
Okay.
You just got to think a little bit.
Got
about
one.
it.
Let's do the show now.
He's already doing the work. Okay, so we'll be back next Friday, and it's going to be a really special next Friday. You'll see what I'm talking about when we do it. Yeah. But we will be in uniform next week.
Yeah.
Watch that.
I forgot to make the call.
Okay, so the show will be back next week, Cheap Date Night, super special, decade wrap-up. Wrapping up the 2010s with my homeboys here, Swainbo and Dr. Miller. That's like we might as well be like a
rap group.
We're going to be an accounting firm.
Yeah, there you go.
Martinez, Miller, and Swainbo. Dr. Martinez, Dr. Miller, Dr. Swainbo. Got all of the above. All of the above. Exactly. Okay, I want to thank all of you guys, as usual, for being here, for giving me a little bit of love on a Friday night. I understand that. Share out, like, and I do need this. So I need you guys to go to the YouTube channel. I need to start increasing the subscribers there because more of the content is going to begin to come out in a more produced format on YouTube. I need you to go to YouTube. Real easy. You can punch in YouTube, just go to the site, SuperMex International or SuperMex Nation, and it'll immediately take you to one of my videos. I know it because I do it. Check myself out. SuperMex International, SuperMex Nation. Click on a video and then go to the page, subscribe, and become part of our nation, part of what we're doing. So again, nothing but love for you. You guys know the safety briefing. Go out, enjoy life, do things, but be careful for yourself. Be careful if you're having a few drinks, like these two guys are in these secret coated cans. These cans. Be careful. Be mindful of the other, because it isn't always you. It might be somebody else that is doing something not right or not good that may cause you an incident or an accident. And so I want to make sure that everybody's back next week. Be careful, be mindful, have a great beginning to your new decade, and we will be back next week. Nothing but love for you. SuperMex Nation is out.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.